$1 million that we have.
Live on YouTube.
Not refer to our minutes. Anyway, our opening quote tonight is from the book, I'm sure Jenna is familiar with it, called The Frugal Librarian.
Is there any other kind?
The quote is as follows: doctors bury their mistakes, lawyers hang them, librarians put theirs on the book sales shelf.
Ouch.
And if you've been to the parking lot, you know exactly what I mean, right? Let's move on to the acceptance of the agenda, and I'd like to just interject here. I would like to change the order of items under old business so that I would like to do it in this order: Library Facilities Committee, Employee Handbook Committee, Accounting Status, Goals, and then Budget. So that way we kind of get the shorter reports out of the way at the beginning, and then we leave the more substantive items for the end of it. Does anybody have any other changes to the agenda? Any suggestions? If not, can we have a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 No. Next is the minutes of the November 9th meeting. You all have gotten a copy of it and read it through several times, I know, during the weekend. Were there any changes to the minutes? If not, a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
So moved.
Moved by,
Second.
seconded by Gary. All in favor, say aye.
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 No? Thank you. We'll now come to the public comments section. A meeting is being recorded. It's available online. And of course, any public questions, comments by members of the public are always welcome and may be directed to Jenna, our wonderful director at the library, or online or by email. So I don't see any other members of the public unless Kathy's hiding one under her blanket. So I think we're all right.
Yeah.
All right, next is the aldermanic report. Kathy, you're up.
I don't really have anything that affects the library, although I am also on the Ways and Means Committee, and note that the library is on our agenda for Thursday. So I will see some of you Thursday, and if there's anything you would like me to bring up or be sure not to bring up at that time, you can let me know.
All right. Yes, some of us will be attending virtually by Zoom, the Ways and Means Committee, but
And why is it on the agenda for the Ways and Means?
say again.
Why is it on the agenda? What's going to be discussed?
Elise,
The lease.
Okay,
that is all that we know so far. And then it'll be, we'll talk about that in executive session, but it will also come up at the Board of Aldermen meeting coming up, the last two meetings in December. Okay, library director's report.
Right. So we haven't really announced our tiny art show yet, but it is in the window next to the fountain on Eulalie. And we're just waiting for a timer for the lights so that we can keep that on so people can come by at night and check out our display of tiny art. I think it looks fabulous. I'm so excited about it.
Very cute. That's so clever.
I know. Claire Etheridge is amazing. I'm just gonna say she has the best ideas, and
She does.
she actually, she does it. Like you gotta love it. So, and you'll even see some of the librarians' pieces at the Tiny Art Show too. A few of us submitted works. But we got about 30, we sent out, I think, almost 70 canvases, but we got about 30 back, which is great.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And I thought, since I don't have a lot of statistics for you, since it is the first day of December, I didn't get the November stats until like 30 minutes ago. So, yeah, but I did pull out how many of the craft kits we've made since we've been closed to the public, and we've made 155, which is pretty cool. I don't know, I'm just so pleased with the staff. They've been able to put them together and get people to sign up for them. And then if we have some that aren't picked up, they, you know, make them available for people to pick up later, or we've been even putting them on the table in the parking lot, you know. So like if we had some, I think, Halloween bags left over, we put them out there, and they get snatched up real quick. So
Right.
it's been a lot of fun.
Here's one of the crafts.
You already did it.
I already made it. And here's the other one.
Oh, I picked mine up today.
Awesome.
They're so cute. The
Oh
whole
my gosh.
time I'm thinking, who cut all these tiny pieces up?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, it's so much work. They're
Yes.
adorable.
Yes, we have some very dedicated staff folks. Oh, and we're today starts the winter reading club. Yeah, and that's going to go through the end of January, and the goal is to read 10 hours. We are going to have Carl's gift cards, but we don't have them quite yet. So if you finish your 10 hours, maybe you'll want to wait a couple weeks, because when we tried to call Carl's, they're like, we're closed for 2 weeks. Like, oops. We're adding the digital New York Times soon. I'm just waiting on to get some technical things set up, and how that's going to work is you will be able to go to where you would log into your library account, and there will be a link, and every day you can get a free pass, and that will get you on for, it's a 24-hour pass. I know, right? So exciting.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Can you do
That
the
will-
games with that?
Oh, the New York
Sorry.
Times, man, you can do a mini crossword puzzle, which
Oh, wow.
is actually my speed. So, but
Yeah.
if you want to do the full thing, I think you got to shell out more monies.
Okay.
So
That's okay. The mini's
And-
fine with me.
the mini is
Yeah.
good. It's nice.
And the spelling bee is good.
They have the spelling bee, and they have some other tile game that I tried. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, it's just fabulous.
Tiles.
That's what it's
And-
called.
And you noted that we might do another one. What will be the deciding factor on which one you choose?
Oh, for like between the
Because
Wall
you had
Street
mentioned,
Journal.
yeah, you had mentioned, I just didn't know what the,
Yeah, I think it's going to be price availability.
Okay,
Because I
that's-
was thinking, you know, we do have the Washington Post,
We
but
do?
also, yeah, well, we have the we get the weekend edition of the Post, but I would think the Wall Street Journal might be like a better complement to the New York
Yeah.
Times. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I was just curious because part of my day job is coordinating print and online subscriptions for my department. And there is some major cost differences with Wall Street Journal and Washington Post, and I'm not recalling which one's more right now. But anyway, so I was just
Yeah.
curious as to what would be the deciding factor. That's all.
Yeah, cost, I think, definitely. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see.
I'm
We'll
excited.
see.
I think it's going to
Also,
be a great resource.
availability. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got a part-timer who's going to be leaving at the end of the year. So we are going to be hiring another part-time position. I have not posted that yet, but I will be doing that soon. By the end of the week. Catherine's been working on, and I can't tell you how many years, but she's retired from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and she officially, and then she has worked, this job is her retirement job. So she is going to be leaving us, and she will be missed. I'm not going to talk about the computers. Also, I'm excited about the Zinio, the RB Digital magazines that you can get free through the library. They are going to be moving to the Overdrive platform because Overdrive purchased them. And so that means you won't have to go to 2 different places now, to get content, which is always a good thing. So I'm excited about that. That has many various magazines. It has a lot of international titles, and some of which are highly amusing. So if you look at it, check it out. I mean, there's like things for sheep herders, I'm sure. It's great. But there's lots of good stuff on there that you would normally want to pick up from the newsstand too. So that's my report. Thank you for listening. Does anybody have any questions?
I had two questions. Do you have any more news on the timing of the bike rack repair station and that thing?
Oh, you know what? I forgot to put that in here. No, I don't. I just know that basically it's been handed over to the Parks and Rec Department and the Sustainability Committee, and they are going to be doing it. So
Okay.
I feel like essentially it's kind of out of our hands now. We got the ball rolling, and now they're going to be spending the money and installing it. So I'm not sure on the timeline.
They'll probably wait till warmer weather in the spring, I would think.
I would think. Yeah.
Okay, great. And the other thing is, as you know, we had quite a discussion or an exchange of emails regarding the opening between Christmas and New Year's. And you were work out some kind of schedule or hours. What do you see right now as far as what hours it will be open and how much staff you'll have and everything?
Okay, I'm just going to tell you that I completely forgot that conversation.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, I feel like I don't know. I feel like that was like a lifetime ago. I don't know why. So I don't know. I feel like the point of it was to close so that people didn't have to come in and be around other folks. You know what I mean? So I don't think, honestly, it's not like a hardship to be open during that week. It's just, I thought it would be, other libraries were doing it, and I thought it would be good to consider. But honestly, our hours are kind of few anyway. And
yeah, I think the consensus seemed to be to keep it open for maybe a 4-hour period.
mhm.
And I don't know what hours would work, 10 to 2 or 12 to 4 or whatever. But I think
Yeah,
as long as the public knows, because during those holidays, sometimes parents like to keep their kids stuff from the library and everything. So
sure. And that's why I'm saying, because it's like, it's not like we don't have stuff to do. It's just that it was more like a consideration of, I don't know, just because it is slow, and then why put people in that position if there's not a lot of foot traffic at the library then. But I mean, it's only 6 hours, and people are fine working that. So I
okay,
think we should just keep regular hours. I think it'll actually be easier, because then we won't have to redo the advertising and stuff for it.
okay. So 12 to 6 is what we're talking.
Yeah, I think we'll just keep the normal hours if that's okay.
Okay, that sounds good. I think that was kind of consistent with the discussion. Any other questions for Jenna? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's move on to the old business. And the first thing I want to real quickly talk about was the facilities committee. And I've been in touch, and I've got almost all the answers back on when we prefer to meet, but we will be meeting in January. And the purpose of that first meeting will really be to kind of get an overview and set some goals and think about who would we want to contact, what kind of resources, and the basic questions of what do we have now and what do we need, and how can we get to it. So that committee, and I think I'm waiting for three of you to let me know when would be the best. What would you prefer of the 3 choices? So I'll send you a reminder tomorrow, and we'll set a meeting up for January. So on the employees handbook committee, Jenna and Laura, I know you already been talking. Where that stands and everything.
Yeah, so there is one thing that I had requested that we look at tonight to decide, and that would be in our current handbook, we have it aligned with the city for when you get your vacation. And what I'll do is I'm gonna share my screen. Let me pull up my the handbook. Okay, why is that? Sorry, let me get here it is, the vacation policy from the employee handbook. Now, so the way it works now is that your vacation, it depends on when you get your vacation, depends on when you're hired. So everybody has a different day of the year that their vacation starts fresh. And so because we are changing to doing our own payroll and accounting in January, I was hoping that we could make it so that on the first day of the year, January 1st, that's when you start to get your new vacation for the year. So make it a calendar year as opposed to your anniversary date. It would just be easier. And since we only have 11 folks on staff, I mean, it is, it just would make it so much easier, I think, to do it at once as opposed to do it 11 times throughout the year, I don't know. So that's what I am proposing, and Lori did the wording here, and she also put in the part in the first paragraph underneath how many hours you get, or how many hours of vacation you get. The number of vacation days will be prorated based on start date. So employees that start on July 1st will receive 5 days. So that's what would be changed or added. And then we would say in the first sentence, the second sentence, vacation starts over each year on the first day of the calendar year. So those are the proposed changes to the manual at this point.
Okay, I'm trying to focus in on that. So if we hired somebody in July, or let's say to start July 1st of last year, they would have gotten 5 days for the balance of 2020. Is that right? What's your
Once their 6 months is over, then they would get the 5 days, right?
Okay, and so then, but then on January 1st of 2021, they would be entitled to 10 days for the year. Is that right?
You have to work 6 months in order to get. I'm sorry, Lori.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, so I think it does get confusing in the sense that they would, because I think it's also that they can't carry over vacation. And so you're right. So if so July 1st is a bad example, because then if somebody it's July 1st, they're not going to be able to use their vacation days for 6 months. So those 5 vacation days that they would have put in the bank are now expired because they can't carry over into 2021. Does that make sense?
We have a 6-month probationary period. Is that basically what it is, right?
Yeah, that's what that first line, that the vacation may be used once 6 months of continuous employment with the library has been completed. So I guess a better example would be if somebody started February 1st. They would get, after 6 months of employment, they would get a certain number of days based on starting Feb 1. So it's just that first year that's tricky, that first calendar year of employment that would require some kind of math, I guess.
But they do have to have worked at least 1 year total before they can get the 10 days. Am I right there?
So what I was proposing with this was saying that they wouldn't have to wait until the calendar year to get those days. So, like I said, so if they start February 1st, 6 months later in August, they can use vacation days, but they'll only have 9 or whatever it would turn out to be, because they haven't worked, they weren't there January 1.
Yeah. So maybe we should
So
change
people
also.
are-
Oh, sorry.
People are accruing vacation days from the day they start?
Yeah, well, you get a certain amount, but you can't use it until like at this point, until a year, which is kind of crazy.
Right.
Actually, most places you don't even start accruing vacation until the end of 6 months or the end of a year. So like at the end of the first year, if I was there for 13 months, I'd get 1/12 of the 10 days. Because I worked my first year and now I can start accruing my vacation time.
Yeah, no, we do it so you get 10 days after you were, so you
I
are
can work-
accruing, I guess.
13 months and take 10 days vacation.
Yes.
So
Okay.
the current system is you start earning days from the date of hire, but you can't use them until you've been working there for 6
Yeah.
months.
Okay,
So I guess the first year it's kind of the same, because you start accruing them, but you can't use them for 6 months. But the amount you get isn't
see.
the 10 days. The
Correct.
amount you get is based on how long you've worked. So like so a person who starts after July 1, they're not going to get any vacation. They're not going to be able to take any vacation till after the first of the year anyway.
right.
So on Jan 1, they're going to get 10 hours, and whatever they would have earned they're just not going to have. So that's kind of the downside of that, is that they're going to lose vacation days before they're even allowed to take them because of the 6-month period. Sorry if this is confusing. I mean, I guess my question is do we have to do it? Do we have to keep every piece of this system? I mean, because in my work, every paycheck you get a certain number of hours of vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So like I have to earn them essentially, instead of just getting a set of them at the beginning of the year.
Right.
So I don't know if that's more or less complicated.
I know, right?
Because you could, I mean, that could just be part of payroll, is having a vacation bank.
Yeah.
So once you've worked that 2 or 3 months, you have access to whatever you have earned.
Right. I mean, the way this is written now, you don't have access to vacation for 6 months.
Right.
So is that I mean, I don't know what's standard. I know that I can't remember when I started my job because it was too long ago, what our policy is on how soon you can use vacation.
I think oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I would be in favor of making it a little more employee friendly. We're not talking about, what about part-time people?
They don't
How much
accrue vacation.
They don't accrue any vacation.
Okay.
No.
It sounds like that phrase in the second sentence there is what's confusing things. If you just change it back to the hire date, then you don't have a problem.
Right, but we're trying to get it away from
The hire date.
the hire date.
So then you get anybody hired after July 1st is not going to get any vacation days.
They will get vacation days Jan 1, but because of the fact that they can't use them for 6 months, all the vacation days for 2020 are going to expire on them. Because
I know,
we
and then they
also
start
have
all
that
over.
they can't.
That's what I mean.
So
They lose 6 months accrual.
But
That
they're
doesn't seem right.
gaining, on the
They're
other
gaining a
side,
whole year.
on the other side, they're not, like if you get hired in October, you're losing 2.5 days vacation because it rolls over October or January 1.
Yeah.
But then you have 10 days that you wouldn't have even been able to use from January 1 through March.
But I thought they were a prorated accrual after the first of the year. You can't start January 1st and just take 10 days.
That's what Jenna is saying, is that they get it immediately.
But if you were
After the
hired in
probation
October,
period.
don't you still have to wait for 6 months?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you couldn't take them January
You
1st.
couldn't
Right.
take them, but you would have a full 10 days immediately.
Yes.
So that at March or April 1st, when you've been there 6 months, you now have the ability to take 10 days rather than just 5. So it's a bit of a
That's
trade-off.
not the way I understand this.
so it's after a year, right?
Yeah, after a year.
No, so
But
if you
the-
start
I'm not
October,
understanding
so-
it at all.
But the
so,
six,
so,
okay, if it's prorated, you can't take anything as soon as the year starts until something is accrued.
That doesn't make any sense.
So should
So-
we do it where you earn it then every month or every pay period? I mean, is that how it would do? Because I guess like we do sick time. Sick time is accrued that way.
I think that if you if you earn it every pay period, then you will avoid the issue of having 11 different times of the year where you have to reset vacation.
Yeah.
But you will have to still take into account, are we continuing the use it or lose it policy? So that people need to pay attention as they're accruing it. Because if you have a use it or lose it policy, then that last however many hours you get on your last paycheck of the year, you got to use them in those next 2 weeks, or they're
Yeah.
gone.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the issue with that, because you can't carry it over
Are we,
Yeah.
are we,
unless we want to set a limit of carryover.
yeah, with a small staff, I mean, you can get in danger of staff all having to use it up and you'll be short on staff, by the end of the year. That, if someone just cannot take vacation till they've been there 6 months, but their vacation credit accrues from the date of hire, right?
Mm,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
And if someone is hired in June, then after December, they've accrued 5 days, right? Or something like that. But then on January 1st, are we saying you now have 15 days for this
No.
next calendar year, right?
You have
No,
10.
because
That's not
Yeah.
what the first paragraph says.
But what do we
yeah, I
want?
mean,
It's different.
yeah, what do we want is the question. Do we
Yeah.
want a little bit of carryover so that we can do a January 1 and those people don't automatically lose those?
Right.
Or do we want a statement that says in your first year, you can carry over vacation into the next calendar year?
The thing about carryover, number one, is you can damage morale by not allowing carryover, or by forcing people suddenly they've got to take it and they can't take it.
Well, yeah.
I would hate for our staff to feel, forced into it, but
What the government does is allow you to accrue a maximum of
Mhm.
hours. They don't set a date, but after so many,
Yeah.
you can only accrue,
Take it.
I think it's 60 days in the military. And then after that, you lose it. So the loss is based upon hours, not upon a calendar date.
Yeah. I would think like 10 hours, honestly, like carryover.
10 days,
10 hours or 10 days?
10 days.
I'm sorry, 10 days.
Okay.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
I'm not getting gypped on that one.
Yeah, right. Oh, okay.
If you carry over 10 days and you've been there 15 years, you could be gone a month.
So we would set a max then.
That
You
would
know
be
what I
the
mean?
max.
Like Gary was
No,
saying,
but you get
But you can't
20.
just-
cumulative max.
Yeah.
So like
And
you can't have more than 300 days. You can't have more than 40 days
Yeah.
in
Right.
your accrual.
Right.
And you can't just take vacation whenever you want it. I mean, you have to ask for it.
Right.
Well, it would be nice perhaps to somehow in the first year plus, they've used up their vacation. In other words, they get hired in June of 20, and then they're here still throughout 2021. By the end of 2021, they need to have used up all their vacation time. That gives them a whole year of 2021 to use up the 10 days plus the 5. I don't know if we don't want to get it where there's too much vacation accumulated.
Right. That's what I was
So,
going to ask. That's what I was going to ask. What happens if somebody's ready to go and they have vacation hour in their bank? That's always like, do we pay them? It's just bye-bye.
Yeah, that's the problem, because at the last sentence, it's you'll be
Yeah.
paid for any accrued and unused vacation. And that's
Yeah,
why we have
that's
no
expensive.
rollover right now.
so would it be fair then to allow rollover for an employee's first year? So if I start in June and that way I don't lose all of that time that I can't use.
I think that's fair.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that way we don't run into that weird situation, because I do think first of the year it just makes more sense for everybody to be on the same schedule with their vacation time.
Yeah.
But so that would be my solution to you lose these prorated days. So we would allow carryover in your first year.
First calendar year.
Yeah.
Really. I tell you what, because of our full schedule tonight, and there's a lot of thinking going into this, if Jenna, if you and Lori can kind of take back the discussion and kind of look over it again, and maybe even check some other common practices, and come back to us with a proposal at the next meeting. I think that would be good if we could finalize it then. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, because then we can, because we'll still have to figure out some stuff like how to maneuver it.
If we need to make it retroactive to January 1st, 2021, we can do that.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good.
Well,
Thanks,
and
Ed.
you guys, before we go, that second to last sentence, you may not carry over unless there are extenuating
Mhm.
circumstances.
I can't
That's
see the
kind of what you have in your first year is an extenuating circumstance. So if you could just elaborate on it there.
That might be a sentence to be modified in their recommendation,
Okay,
I think.
okay.
Thank you, though. I know this is not easy work talking about employees, and since we are such a small library, really, you don't think, well, I can just handle this and we can do this. As you know, we're trying to standardize a lot of things, so
Right.
thank you. Any other questions or thoughts for the Employee Handbook Committee? Thank you for your work on that. Accounting status, Lynn and Jenna, do we have anything more to report this month on where we're at with PERC and everybody?
Let's see. No, I'm still trying to get in touch with the woman from Enterprise that has our investment account to get that changed over.
Do we have QuickBooks set up yet?
We have QuickBooks, but it's not set up yet.
Okay,
So,
want me to go ahead and do that?
Jennifer was going to do that. Yeah.
Okay, I could do it too, then we wouldn't have to pay her,
Okay. Well,
whatever.
okay.
As long as it's on the schedule to be done.
Right.
All right, you two. will get-
Did the, all of the HR paperwork get to her for her to do the December payroll?
We're working on that. I'm working with Jason on that, and also working to get our Square account set up properly, because we already have one. So I'm trying to dovetail it with the new one. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And we have insurance, all the insurance that they're not taking care of scheduled, whatever the errors and omissions and the whatever else it is. Life
Right.
insurance.
Right.
Who is taking care of that, Jenna?
Yeah. Yeah, through Slate, or Daniel and Henry through Slate.
Okay, because that'll have to be set up before
Yeah.
you can sign the lease, I think, too.
Yeah, I feel like right now there's like so many millions of little pieces that are like fitting in, like, I don't know. It's but yeah, I think we'll get there. It's just
Getting through this.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on to, I tell you what, let's do the goals for 2021. And I sent all of you a kind of a draft of goals that I based on ones from last year that we wanted to carry over. And some, and one or two new ones. Do you all have that, or do we need to share it?
The goals?
the board goals.
The board goals, is everybody?
Oh, board goals.
Board goals.
I have Jenna's goals.
Here, let me see.
Sent it on the 30th.
Here we go.
Yeah. Okay, and again, this was based on some of our discussions and some from last year and everything. And the first one was, I like the word implement, you probably see that. But first one was to implement the new lease agreement with the city. One is to clarify our functions and then to operate in accordance with the lease provisions. It's pretty general goals, but with a lot of specifics going to be carried out. The second is to implement the new accounting procedures with our accounting firm. And I think we had a goal of retaining a bookkeeper in some way to carry out appropriate functions and carry over from last year to invest in interest producing products, right? Make more money on our investments. Next, a written safety plan. I know it was started on that, and the board subcommittee is creating one, and what we need to do is approve it. The staff, the attorney and the board approve it and then publicize that plan to the patrons and staff. One that's unique to this year, hopefully, is to reopen the library for full services when appropriate. And under that, I had review and monitor the procedures of other libraries during the pandemic to create a plan for reopening and then to publicize the plan and reopen to the public. And then finally, which we've already started, is to create a library facilities subcommittee and study options for new or renovated space. Create the subcommittee to meet regularly and report back to full board, which we've done or starting. Determine the library's current space limitations and future space needs. And meet with appropriate professionals, realtor, architect, engineers, librarians, et cetera, to help determine the needs and options. And those, the last two asterisks under the last goal are really what we're going to attack in our first overview meeting of the Library Facilities Committee. And I know Lori had sent me an email regarding some things that we're going to need to follow up on as we change over from our lease with the city and our new accounting and everything, the lease agreement and accounting. And so there will be some more specific goals, I think, and steps to be taken. And that will be part of our discussion as a board or in the different subcommittees. But
Is included in that is the rewriting of the employee handbook.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was, that's kind of what I was trying to edit, that I think out of those top two things, especially the lease agreement, yeah, we're gonna have the handbook and there'll be other things I'm sure that we maybe aren't aware of at this moment that are gonna change and that we're gonna have to,
So at the under the first,
yeah, we could add the
should we add
handbook is what you're saying.
another goal or under those first two goals? What are you thinking?
I would put under the first one.
Yeah.
So we got the employees handbook revision committee, whatever you want to call yourself. And so we'll get revisions and adopt them as a board. Okay. Well, I'll add that to that. Other thoughts on the goals? You all on mute, or are we okay on the goals?
Goals are fine.
All right,
It's
should I stop
okay.
sharing the screen? Or does anybody need to see it?
Where you got it? Okay. Are there some thoughts, any changes? Besides that one addition we're gonna make? I think these are all achievable. Obviously, the last goal about the facilities subcommittee is gonna be ongoing for my lifetime and my children's lifetime. But I do think we've got a good start going, and I think I heard a lot from people about, especially from the facilities subcommittee, about, well, let's make sure we meet with this person or that person, or that we explore this possibility and that possibility, locations and stuff. And I think that subcommittee is going to have a lot to do, but I think we already are thinking in the right way as far as what we need to do. So
Yeah, I think it's good too, Ed, because you don't want to put down such minute little details, because that really boxes you in. You know, I think they're somewhat general, but we all know they're more specific than it, that maybe looks like it's stated. You don't want to, because if you put down too much little mini stuff, it's going to look like we're not accomplishing things sometimes. You know?
I call it achievable BS. And
Yeah.
I think we can, it says consistent with our mission and what we're trying to do, but at the same time, it gives us specific enough steps that we can take those steps. So, okay,
It's great.
Any other discussion? And obviously, if you have some thoughts that come to you in the middle of the night tonight, don't call, but feel free to email. And we can always add to that. All right. Lynn, would you rather we go ahead? Do you have a treasurer's report, or do you just want to fold that into the budget?
We do not have a treasurer's report. They're nowhere near done.
Okay.
So
Should we just go ahead and attack the budget? Because that will certainly.
yes.
Okay. I'll tell you what, I'm going to do real quickly. I'm just going to say, under new business, I sent you a general timetable of business throughout the year. And if you have any comments, suggestions, modifications, send those to me. That'll be ongoing if we need to change it. But I think it gives us an idea with our follow-up file that I have and Jenna has, that we can make sure we're doing things at the right time, rather than, oh my gosh, we were supposed to elect officers 2 months ago or something like that. So that's the only reason I had that on the agenda. And please, if you have some comments on them, let me know and we'll change or modify. So, when we go to budget, and Lynn and Jenna were kind enough to prepare, and Lynn sent us the updated budget. I believe that
It's
was
updated, but as I'm looking at it, I realize that my column headers were not very clear. The one that says annualized budget 2020, that is the original budget we had for the year. That was what we came up with for, back in 2019.
So
And then
rather than annualize, it was what we actually voted on.
that was, yes.
Okay.
And then the projected is what we think we're going to have at the end of December.
Where it says projected 2021.
That's what we think we will spent.
That's what we've spent through September. And then I added October, November, and December budgeted amounts to come up with that grand total for the year.
So should that
what we think we're going to spend.
Should that be projected 2020 then?
That's, yeah, that very first column is projected 2020.
Okay,
So the first is what we think we're gonna do by the end of the year. The second column is what we said at the beginning of the year we were gonna do. And then we have projected for 2021 and 2022.
you know what? I don't know if I have that.
Oh,
I
here,
have,
look, I have a magic screen.
I have one that has 4 columns.
Mhm.
Yes,
The
Projected
yellow one.
annualized budget 2020, which you say is really budget,
But
and then projected 2021, which you
Mhm.
said projected 2020, right?
no, projected 2020, the very first column is what I'm saying is how I got to that is I took actual numbers through September and then added our budget amounts for each month to finish up the year.
that's what we think we're gonna spend.
So
Yeah.
we won't be
Let's see if I can
spending
find
more
it.
than that unless we go over budget in some areas on a monthly basis. So that's where we think we're gonna be now. The second column is what we anticipate. That was the original budget we had. The third column is our proposed budget for 2021, and then looking forward to 2022.
Okay. So the third column says projected 2021, and that is what we're proposing for a budget, right?
Correct.
Okay. So it looks like we are going down the list. I know our full-time salaries, it was up 34,000 from what we think we're gonna spend in 20, but that's,
We're short a person.
We're
Right,
short, yeah,
that's-
sort of person.
that now. And part-time is gonna go down because one of the part-time is leaving and we're gonna replace with a full-time, is that, or fill a full-time position? Am I right about that?
No, I mean, I'm gonna fill the part-time position.
Oh, okay,
Part-time went down because we have an outside service for janitorial.
okay. I
So
got it.
instead of having the $15,000 or whatever it was for somebody's salary for janitorial, that $15,000 is now in our miscellaneous contractual expenses
Okay,
because we have an outside contract with somebody.
okay, that's 6210 was up to 13.2, and that's to cover the contract, okay.
Yeah.
So we still have a full-time position that's open, and do we still have another part-time position that's open?
We will when Catherine leaves at the end of the month.
Okay,
Okay, I thought there were 2 of them, a full-time and a part-time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, the full-time one, we haven't filled at all. That we had it, I was gonna hire somebody in March and then this happened.
Yeah,
So, and it, so. Yeah, so that's where the full-time one is.
okay.
okay, as we're going down there, the 6,600 for the rent and city services is consistent with the lease, right?
Yes,
And then 8,700 for the insurances to take in the new insurance coverage that we need.
right. The errors and omissions should
Errors
be
and
about
omissions.
1,500.
25,600, the accounting services that we have contracted for.
Mhm.
Yes, that is at this point what we would be paying to PERC. And in the future, it may be we may have a staff person doing a lot of that.
Okay. Legal is, but we got a 10.3 and we'll probably use that up. I'm just looking at the ones that I highlighted on my report. You've corrected the community services and youth programming up to 12,000 each, right?
Mhm.
6450 furniture, 20,000 for the chairs. So it appears that our income you project to go down about 28,000 from this year?
No, it should be going up 9,000.
The net income, I mean.
Oh, net income? Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, it's going down almost $30,000. But we're still clearing 136,000.
right. Yeah, oh yeah. I was just wanting
Yeah.
to note the difference. Okay, and I'm sorry, I jumped right in there with all of my pink highlighted numbers. Does anybody else have some questions before we're going to obviously get into this salary discussion in executive session, but other questions about any of the budget categories?
I have a question. I was wondering, could you remind us what are the capital expenditures in that category? And then MLC labor and MLC materials. I'm just curious. I can't remember what they are.
The capital expenditures should go away at the end of 2024. The library was redone 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago. And so therefore that 38,000 is the amount of our portion that we've been paying the city on a 20-year loan, so to speak.
Right. Okay. So it's paying for the remodeling.
Yes,
The last remodeling, yes.
yes.
Okay.
And then the MLC, there is a full-time person who does nothing but manage the library business that's done as a whole, as a consortium.
Mm-hmm.
And so we get billed every individual library gets billed for her expenses, and that's
Okay.
what the MLC is for. And I've had it broken down between labor and materials, so we have a better idea of our actual material spending for our budget purposes, our guidelines with the state.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's our overdrive and our hoopla all get paid. So our digital ones that we share with the rest of the libraries, we all share those, and so we get billed a portion,
Okay.
and that's where it comes from, that line item. It doesn't come from our books.
I
line.
see. Do we still have Creative Bug?
We do.
Okay.
Do. Comes out of our magazines for some reason. That's kind of like our databases is what the magazines come out of. Yeah.
Okay.
Considered a
Lynn,
subscription.
Thank you.
Lynn, I had a question about line item 6150. Why is the insurance going up? Is the value of the property more expensive, or is just a projection?
Actually, we did not have errors and omissions insurance. We thought that.
And
was
what is
part of
errors
our-
and omission? I'm sorry, I don't know what that is.
It basically protects the board members. If we make a mistake or someone wants to try and sue the board members, we have insurance to cover that.
And
Okay,
we
that's
want that.
Yes.
We want
And
that.
thought
We
we
do
had
want
it, and we don't.
We like malpractice insurance for the
I
board.
thought they said we were covered,
We were covered under the city's policy, but
but not.
that's expensive. Ooh.
Hmm.
So that's
What
just
about-
$1,500 of it.
Yeah. What about the 6260, the community services? Didn't that get changed with another budget sheet that we saw just recently to adult and teen programming?
Yes, I don't know why those changes didn't get on here.
It seems like I saw them in real life at one point, but I just wanted to make sure I wasn't hallucinating.
No, you're not. I don't know what I did. To be perfectly honest, I have no clue.
Okay.
but when we set up the QuickBooks, we'll change all that. Like we'll change that to adult programming
Mhm.
or programming. What is it? Programming / adult. programming / children, teens, or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
I think adult and teen together.
Yeah.
Other questions? Just a side note regarding our revenue, there was a glimpse of a proposal by a St. Louis County councilman, I think it was Tim Fitch, to delay collection of property taxes, personal property and real property taxes, which would have affected when we got our money and when the school districts get their money. And as soon as the school districts heard that proposal, it seemed to disappear. But we are okay. I think we're going to get our money on time and everything. But that would have caused, we have enough reserves to cover, but that would have caused a little delay and also a shortage in what we could have invested for a while.
He's kind of a problem.
Yes.
Could I ask one more question about the budget, please?
Absolutely.
Tell us more about line 6645, the strategic planning project, projected budgets.
The original category was set up a number of years ago when we were in the process of researching what we would need for a new space. And we kind of kept it as the catch-all for the new things we were adding, the legal fees and the accounting fees. So, but now we need it again because we may have expenses going forward with the latest subcommittee for new space. It's just money out there for whatever we might need for that purpose, whether it's a consulting fees, or maybe we want to do
Appraisal of a piece of property.
right, or even if we want to do some marketing in the community, or maybe get some surveys done, see if people are willing to go to the other side of Brentwood, those kinds of things. So just to have that, the wiggle room for anything that might pop up related to acquiring new space.
Okay, thank you.
It will not be for a fancy dinner for my subcommittee. But some companies would use that for that, I know. Okay, we do have, obviously, to talk about salaries and.
We have to
Wait.
we have to vote on this.
Yeah, we actually have to approve the budget.
Pardon me?
We actually have to approve the budget.
Well, do we want to, we're going to approve it without discussing salaries? Is that what you're saying?
Don't we want to approve this part first?
Okay, is this basically takes into mind what we think we're going to do for salaries, but it gives us the room.
Yes. It did.
Right.
Okay, all right. So with that in mind, is there a motion to approve the budget as submitted?
So
So
moved.
moved.
I'll be second.
We're a motion and a second, and
Poor Lori.
Lori got those all right, didn't you? And,
Yeah.
Okay, would
So
this,
who seconded? Sorry, I missed who seconded.
Kathy,
Well,
Jeanette.
seconded, I think,
Jeanette,
Somebody.
Jeanette.
Cindy. Yeah, Gary.
just put down somebody's name, we'll do it.
Okay.
Somebody was imitating Gary or something, but anyway, any more discussion? There's been a motion to approve, motion second to approve the budget proposed for 2021. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, the budget is carried and approved. Thank you so much. And to Len and Jenna and anybody else who worked on that budget. That's great.
would this be a time for me to bow out before you go on to something executive?
You know what's so funny when we do Zoom is that your voice I hear, but your lips aren't moving sometimes. I'm always looking for who's the
I to exaggerate.
Kathy, I think
You tell me when it would be good for me to leave your meeting.
I would say at about
Right now.
7:33 would be good.
Then if I don't see you all,
Kathy, thank you so much. And,
you're welcome.
and have a wonderful holiday. And I guess we'll
We'll
See
see
you
you
on
at the Ways
Thursday.
and Means Committee.
Ways and Means and Board of Aldermen.
Some of you Thursday. Okay.
And I'll try to find a sweater to match.
All right. Bye all.
Hi,
Bye,
Kathy.
Kathy.
Bye.
Happy
Hi,
holidays.
Kathy.
Okay, now we can talk about her. No. At this point, what we need to do is, because we're going to be discussing legal and personnel, we need a motion to go into executive session. Is there a motion?
So
I
moved.
moved. Cindy
Moved by
first.
Lynn, seconded by Jeanette to go into
Mhm.
executive session. Lori, if you have the roll in front of you, if you could do it by roll call, that'd be great.
Sure. I will just do it by who I can see on the screen. Lynn,